have you on Sunrise. Now, we are huge fans in Australia, so it's a real honour to have you three on the show. And I just wanted to start with talking about the name of this album, Father of All Motherfuckers. I've never said that on television before.
Right.
I'm so glad that you've given me permission to. What inspired that?
Well, I think I write different things in my journals and stuff like that, whether it's like poetry or just random thoughts. And I think that was like a random thought that I just thought was funny or something. And just I love torturing the English language, so it's that was one thing. And I thought, and I was like, this would make a great album title. Yeah. And then the next thing you know, it's or I thought it was gonna be a song title, but not. The next thing you know, it's an album title. So. It's just fun, and it's like, who gives a damn? Like, it's like, just say what's on your mind,
Yeah, I love it. Kind of, it's already like breaking a taboo just saying the name of the album, let alone the content of it. I think that's really cool. Now, what I found really interesting is that you're donating all of the royalties from Oh Yeah to charities that help victims of sexual assault. What's the story behind that?
It started with covering Joan Jett. Doing a mashup with Joan Jett. We love Joan Jett. We've toured with her. We've been fans since we were kids. And then, covering that song, and then realizing, unearthing the one of the original writers was a complete creep. And so we said, well, how can we make some good out of this? We got a great song already. Let's honor Joan Jett, and let's honor the people that were, that are in bad situations by not paying attention to a creep and paying attention to the good side of things.
I love it, kind of flipping it around and actually helping people that have been the victim of something that this person kind of experienced themselves.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Now, I love this album because it's got, of course, all the grit and the kind of grunge and the rock and roll that we expect. But there's something very fresh about the sound of it. And I know that, Billy, you've described it as being sonically very modern. How is this album different to what people consider kind of classic Green Day?
Well, I think that the new record sort of launched us into a new era. And not a lot of bands can really say that, or anyone for that matter. With Green Day, we sort of started off as just like as a punk rock band. And I think that element's always been with us. And then we've been able to do things like American Idiot and 21st Century Breakdown, where there's like rock operas. But now I feel like it's a time to just even dig deeper into the history of rock and roll, whether it's like Motown or glam rock or anything from T-Rex and Mott the Hoople to Martha and the Vandellas. So it's just something to make like kind of just something that can lift your spirits musically. So, it's we hope we're successful at it. So,
no, I'm sure you will be, and it's so lovely to hear you kind of experiment with difference. Because I think a lot of bands get stuck and they feel they need to be true to that. But I guess you guys are just kind of always throw the rule book out the window.
Yeah, I think it's about throwing our own rule book out the window and just it's just a nod to the history of rock and roll and just the music that we grew up loving. And just maybe passing it down to the next generation. I
love it. Now, I heard that to promote the album, you want to play a gig in a fan's backyard. Okay?
Yeah.
What are you looking for? Do they need to have is it a swimming pool, a bouncy house? What are we looking for?
A bouncy house.
Yeah, a doggy door.
A good trampoline is always a must. Yeah.
Oh my God, that would make a great video. Green Day on a bouncy house.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my God.
The ups and downs of life and music.
The ups and downs of Green Day. Well, I mean, we always had like DIY spirit about everything that we've done, and that was just one more thing. Like, you can always play your traditional rock clubs, but I mean, why not play a backyard or a Vets Hall or something like that?
That's exciting. A lot of fans are probably like, how do I get involved? How are you going with the search? Have you found the right backyard yet?
We've got many ideas that are floating around. Anything from barns to
bathrooms.
Okay, that's interesting. I love it. Now, something that I thought was really interesting is that you, Billy, said that you decided that you don't really like long songs. And yet...
You're right.
You do it yourself, man.
Suburbia was 9 minutes long. So why the change of heart?
I don't know. I think all of the songs that I've ever been into have always been sort of 2 minute kind of, 2-minute hits or whatever, whether it's like the early Who or early Beatles or, the punk rock music I grew up with. So I think it was just trying to get back into that spirit, I guess.
Oh, that's so cool. Now, Trey, you've said that you are kind of really psyched to get out there and kind of perform. How would you describe the kind of feeling within the group at the moment?
I think we're fired up. We are. We got this new record. We've had it done for a while and been kind of sitting on our hands, waiting to share it with the world and tour it. And it's coming up pretty quick, so we're fired up.
You've said that the band right now is just really psyched, excited to get out there and perform music. How would you describe the kind of motivation within the group at the moment?
Well, I'm very high on mushrooms right now, but it's completely legal because we are in Oakland, California. But no, but maybe, but yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Okay, American Idiot was so iconic when it came out in 2004. But now, listening to the music, it feels much more relevant than ever given the political landscape that we're in, certainly what's happening at the moment in the US. How does it feel to be performing these songs, which were, of course, written so long ago, but feel very much zeitgeisty and part of the climate of the moment?
It's sort of a mixed bag of feelings when it's like you write these songs that people are relating to during hard times. So it's but I think if anything, it's like if we can just if kind of uplift the mood for people to speak out or sing out. I think that that's I don't know. I think that it's hard writing political songs because the intention isn't to write a hit or anything like that. It's just the intention is to speak your truth. So, but I think that the fact that it's more significant now than even when it was in 2005, that speaks a lot to the power of the song and power to the people.
So true. I feel like music is one of the most powerful tools we have to speak to people, especially when it comes to young people,
Mm-hmm.
What do you hope this new album says? Because people are listening.
I think this album is very positive in a lot of ways. It's like musically it feels very positive and it's very fun and there's like an irreverence to it. But at the same time, there's a lot of topical things that are going on in it. It's like songs like Graffitia or Junkies on a High. But then there's also looking back on things like being like a teenager and how it's you never felt that you were very special or anything. It's like your first heartbreak comes as a teenager. So whether it's knowing that you're never going to be an astronaut or so it's but I mean, so I hope that people just get something out of it that's positive.
So you want people, and do you want people to ask questions about what's happening? Because right now we're at a time where people are kind of assessing. I mean, people always are, but particularly now assessing what's happening politically, what's happening socially. There's a lot of obviously division within the country here in the US, and is it important for young people to kind of speak out and kind of ask questions and demand new answers?
Well, yeah, I think it's really important for millennials or Generation Z or like people from our age group that have to clean up the mess that we made. So it's we can't just leave it up to young people to clean it up. So, but yeah, it's really important for people to speak out and do it in an effective way where you can just be a good listener. If you are someone that is in the States, like what they call white privilege, I think your best bet is to listen to people that feel the most disenfranchised, and then come up with a solution together.
I like that. Now you guys have been together for more than 30 years. How would you describe this pretty epic bond?
James Bond.
We are
007.
Bond, epic Bond. I think you know, we've always just been good friends. It's always baffling to me when I hear about bands that can't stand each other and they speak out in public. Like, even if I was angry at these guys or one or the other, I wouldn't speak out in public because I have a certain amount of respect for them. But maybe that's just
Thanks,
coming
man.
from working class, or that's just how, you know, like maybe just where we come from, maybe the way we were raised or not raised. But I don't know. Relationships are important, and I think right now we live in a time where kindness means a lot more to us. So.
It's so interesting because it's been such a tragedy for a lot of fans who have seen their favorite groups, bands break up because the members can't stand each other. You know, this kind of brotherhood or sisterhood or whatever it might be ends up being kind of vocal enemies. So you think that respect and just kind of settling it within yourself is kind of the secret. I'm sure you have disagreements, like you've lasted longer than most marriages.
I think
Longer than most of my marriages. Sorry, I could help it. And there's still a lot of respect there too. But no, I just think, you know what, we have a great bond musically and as friends. And that's it, man. You know, I can't speak for other bands, but I can speak for how awesome this band is on and off the field, so.
That's so cool. That's very, very cool. Now, you guys have been touring. You're going to be touring Asia, Europe, America, obviously. I'm thinking there might be a country that you're missing out. Any plans to tour Australia?
Yeah, I think we do have a plan or two.
That's always in the plans.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Australia is always on the map for us when we go on tour. I mean, we've been coming to Australia since '96, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Yeah, it's been a 25-year love affair with Australia. So.
Well, it's a mutual love affair. We've loved you so much and continue to. What I think is really cool about you guys is that you have sold over 85 million records, right? Maybe it's even higher.
No, yeah, I think.
And you have won, even your music's been turned into a 2-time Tony-winning Broadway adaptation. You're inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Like, a lot of people would be just sitting back chilling, maybe not by the pool, but they'd be chilling, and yet you guys just keep on writing new music and performing. Where does that motivation come from?
I think that is our version of chillin'.
We like to think of ourselves as an older, less mature Green Day. So
Yeah.
I think for us it's about never growing up, or I don't know. Music just, I feel like for me, gives me a purpose. Without it, I don't know what I would really do. So, yeah.
Yeah, we don't really like to sit still very long. And so when we're moving, we're shaking, we're dancing, we're hopping,
Singing.
we're singing, we're dancing.
Pizza.
Pizza.
I don't even know what this is, but So you guys, it's just fun. You guys have like you're young kids that kind of are getting slightly older together. I feel like that's such a fun energy that I get from you guys, right? Never growing up.
You know, a few years ago, I was driving to the airport and I saw this taxi cab with one guy in it and a old convertible car with three old guys in it. And they were all probably in their 80s. And the 3 old guys were all flipping off their friend in the taxi cab. And I just went, yeah, that's going to be us. That's pretty awesome. They've been friends since they were like this high.
Yeah, it's a very special thing. You're old friends, even when I go back to Australia, and you just revert back to it, and I think it's a very special bond. They kind of, it's as close as family. Sometimes even
I mean,
closer.
life is too short to have gripes and to sit around and do nothing. It's like you're gonna die tomorrow, so you might as well drink, be merry, have fun, have sex, and have an overall good time before you get 6 feet under.
I think a lot of people are going to make some very bad choices listening to that advice. I'm just kidding.
Make bad choices, don't grow up. It's a sham.
Yeah.
That's interesting, though. I know you don't buy into the idea of, getting older and kind of retiring your spirit. I think that's a really interesting concept. Is it addictive, the whole idea of kind of being on the road and getting that feedback from fans, because you are and have been so special to people? Is it tough when you come back from being on the road and kind of readjusting to like normal life?
I've never had a normal life,
Yeah.
so I don't really know. I think, yeah, the thing about Green Day is like when it's good, it's great. When it's great, it gets you high. You know, it's like what Trey said. It's like legalized mushrooms, but I mean the mushrooms are in the crowd. So when we play like these big stadiums or in arenas, or when we play clubs, it's a feeling that you can't really explain. Except so when you come home, you got to put on the brakes a little bit and just kind of make sure that the furniture is still in the same spot and your dogs and your cats are still alive and things like that. So
Just slowly. It's like once interviewed some people who they played an astronaut, and they said how a lot of astronauts, when they come back to reality, have a tough time kind of being on planet Earth, you know.
Kind of spaced
yeah,
out.
yeah.
Like that being superstars in a way, kind of up in the
Literally a
galaxy.
superstar. Yeah.
Exactly. That's so interesting. Now, you guys have come a long way since Gilman Street, right? When you started in the late 80s, you were really part of this kind of early 80s, kind of formative 90s punk rock scene. Now everything 90s is so in, you know, whether it be fashion or music. We're seeing a lot of new groups form that are kind of 90s inspired music. How do you feel about that? Do you love where they're going, or does it feel a little bit like imitation?
I mean, I think it's pretty cool because the thing about when the 90s or the late 80s, the good stuff, because there was a lot of bad stuff that I hope doesn't get regurgitated, but like the good stuff is timeless, really. I mean, you can put on a Nirvana record and it sounds like it was recorded yesterday, or you know, the same way that you can put on Abbey Road by the Beatles, you know. So it's it's cool that people kind of have the culture, all of the good culture, or the twisted pop culture, and a lot of the young people are able to have a grab bag of different ideas, and it always churns out something new.
So interesting. I heard you guys were inspired a lot by rap. Is that true? Rap artists, hip hop, that kind
I
of
think
thing?
just the hip hop spirit, and also some, you know, I think some of the beats they use are really incredible.
Yeah, I mean, we used to listen to NWA when we were in a van, and Public Enemy, and you know, now there's a song like Junkies on a High, but the beat that I was sort of thinking about was something from Kendrick Lamar.
Interesting.
So it was.
Interesting. Now, Billy, you've been so open about your struggles in the past with addiction and I think that your fans really connect with you because you're not just showing them, you know, all the smiles and the gold records, but you're showing them sometimes the shadows. How are you going right now?
I'm going good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on mushrooms right now.
There's a lot of reference to mushrooms in
Legal.
this interview. I'm like starting to believe it might be true.
I choose my moments. There's no such thing as perfect sobriety or anything like that. So, but practice makes perfect. Nobody's perfect, so why practice, as they say. So I don't know. I like having a good time, but I also know when to put on the brakes too.
That's really cool. Guys, thank you so much for chatting with us. We can't wait for you. You've got to put a date on that Australian tour because we're really excited to have you come down under. And thank you again for being on Sunrise.
Thanks for having us.